I'm really excited for you to hear this conversation between Promise Phan and I. So I don't know if you know this, but Promise Phan is actually my sister-in-law. She's married to my brother, and it's so crazy because we both were kind of considered, I mean, we still are considered OGs as beauty creators on YouTube, but I mean, I have to give so much props to her because she was an early adopter in the whole beauty transformation format. In fact, I give her credit that she actually created that whole trend. And she is so talented. You could see here, she's transformed herself into so many different celebrities, famous people, memes. She's one of the most creative people I actually know. And she continues to inspire me, not because of her creativity, but because of her heart. This girl has gone through so much in her life, and she has such an amazing story that I don't think many of you who are even followers of her even know. So we're gonna go really deep. Get your tissues ready because it's gonna be very emotional, but in a good way. I hope you enjoy it. So welcome to Afterglow, Promise. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I think we're going to go really deep, and I'm super excited
Yes, I
for...
have so much to share today. So
I know.
I'm so ready to just spill it all here today
I
with you
know, I know.
guys.
And you're in a safe place to
Yeah.
spill it. Like, this is a place of love
hmm
and understanding, and most importantly, just like fun little Easter eggs. And I think a fun Easter egg is how we met. A lot of people don't
Oh,
know
yes.
our origin story, which I don't know
Right.
if you want to start.
Yeah, I could definitely share mine, and then maybe you could like fill in what you thought.
Yeah.
But obviously, I was a big fan of yours. I found you on YouTube a long time ago when I was just watching music videos and stuff, and then I randomly came across your Barbie video, and I was like, "What is this?" And then I clicked it, and then I saw you without your makeup, and I was like, "No way!" Like, I was so blown away by the power of makeup that day from what you did. I was really inspired, so I started following you on YouTube. And then I started following you on Facebook. So I was a big fan of yours. And then obviously there was a lot happened where I met Steve. I don't know if you're gonna go
You
in
just
there as
skipped that
well.
whole thing. Okay,
Right.
this is when I come in, right? To tell
Okay.
my
Yeah,
part of the
yeah. Okay, you
story.
can say.
So my brother, Steve, who you're
Mhm.
married to, he never dated a girl, was
Yeah.
always shy growing up,
Mhm.
and he's so pure. You know,
Right.
you're married
Yes,
to him, you
yes.
would know. And at that time, I was making decent money on YouTube where I was
Mhm.
able to rent a townhouse for my family to live
That's
in. This
true.
was the first time we had a nice home to live in. Like, honestly, we
Mhm.
literally lived in a shithole. Like, all of our other houses
Yeah.
before was just, you've heard it from Steve, you've seen photos, right?
Yes.
And I think because of that, Steve just didn't feel confident. Like, he didn't
Mhm.
feel confident in general, right? He just lacked a lot of confidence. And so
Yeah.
me making a little bit of money, having this nice fancy townhouse he could like live in with me. And I also gave him
Mhm.
like a style makeover. And I was telling my brother, this is the year you're going to get a
Yeah.
girlfriend.
That's crazy.
And I remember at that time, Steve opened his Facebook account for the first time. He's never had
Mhm.
social media. So I told my brother, I was like, it's
Yeah.
okay. I will let people know that you're my brother, add you on my Facebook, and just tell people, hey, add my brother.
Mhm.
He's really cool. And maybe you might meet some really cool girls. And hopefully
Mhm.
you could find, someone cool. And
Yeah.
little did I know, you popped up. And I remember my brother was saying, hey, look at this girl. Her name is Promise. She's really pretty, right? And I looked at
Yeah.
you and I'm like, oh, she loves makeup. She seems really
Mhm.
cool. Like, definitely, I was coaching him on how to respond to
Oh,
you because
wow.
he's so shy.
Yeah,
You know
he
how
was
he is,
shy.
right?
Mhm.
So I was like, you should say this, you should
Yeah.
say that. And he was like, really, like, just being really smooth. And
Yeah.
long story short, eventually you were able to come out to
Mhm.
Florida to meet him.
Yeah.
And
Well, the thing is, like, when I first saw Steve, it was, obviously I saw him through your pictures. And like at that time, I was kind of ready to start dating as well. Cause my parents, they've always been very strict about like not talking to boys and being that really strict, like conservative parents. And then they were like, okay, here, go ahead. I think you're my mom, not my dad. My dad was like never ready. But my mom was like, I think you could start like looking around. You're 18 now. So that was kind of around the time when I kind of had a more open mindset to meet people. And then I would see Steve all the time, like in your pictures, and I could tell like he didn't want to be in the
yeah,
pictures. He
yeah,
was
yeah.
always like, or
Yeah.
like.
It's interesting because Cairo's kind of like that
Oh
too,
yeah, yeah, he
your
hates
son,
it.
yeah.
So I just could tell like he was very shy, and then at the same time, like you could see like he had a really good heart because he would wait for you while
Yeah.
you were shopping. And it just showed, like, I could see that he was a really good man, like a
Oh,
good
I didn't know
brother.
that. I didn't know that
Yeah,
you
so that was,
you
like, the
knew.
first impression that I got. I was like, "Oh my god, that is
Yeah.
such a good, like, guy." And I would love to have somebody like that. So that's kinda where I kind of was interested. I mean, there's no way, like, I never imagined I would actually marry him, but I was like, "Wow, he's such an amazing guy." Like, I could just tell. And then all of a sudden you posted that thing on Facebook where you're like,
Add my
"Add my
brother.
brother and
Yeah.
sister." Christine was there
Yeah.
too. And I
He
was
had
like,
thousands of
there were
requests.
so many. Yeah,
So many. Like, honestly,
there's
it's
so
really a
many.
miracle that he even saw your message,
Yeah.
to be honest with
Yeah, I was
you.
like, I looked, I'm like, I went to stalk his page a little bit, and there
You
were
did?
so
You're being
many, so many girls that were like,
you
"Hey,
were lurking?
Steve, like, I'm like a big fan of your family, your sister," and he was like literally replying to everybody, like, well, he was copy and pasting, but he wanted to be nice enough
Oh,
to
I
show
didn't
them that
know
he's
that.
seen them.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was like, thank you so much," like that. And I was like, "Oh my god, maybe he'll like reply to me. I'll just, send him a message. He seems so nice." So I just wrote him, and then the next day he actually like had the copy pasted comment and I was like, "Oh wow." I got noticed. So anyways, I was just really happy, and one day I saw him online, and I was like, maybe I should like chat with him, just see, like, I just want to take a little risk and fun. So I said, "Hi Steve, and I really love like your sister's makeup, and I'm just a huge fan, and like I'm really inspired by everything that she does. Her family values, like you guys would do all these cute little like family photos and stuff." And then he was like, "Thank you." Like it was like he was a one-word man. um, but then slowly I felt like he was such a great listener. That was exactly who I needed. So
Mm.
I just loved talking to him. Like every time I saw him, I would just talk his ears off. And he just started talking a little longer and longer. He was like, "Thank you. How are you doing?" So it just got, he was more comfortable around me. And then, I never imagined like dating him or anything. I just had fun like talking to him. And then Christine, she was kind of like the little mediator in between.
Yeah, she's everyone's mediator, man.
Yeah, because I don't think Steve would have ever told me he liked me unless it was for Christine. So Christine kind of would message me as well, and
Oh,
she
I
was
didn't know that. I didn't know
yeah,
Christine was
she was the little
yeah.
our person
Yeah,
to
she was
talk.
Cupid. She was
She was the
Cupid.
Cupid between us. So, yeah, she was like, "Promise, like my brother is waiting for you. How come you're not talking to him today?"
Oh,
And I
she
was like,
said that? That's funny.
"Oh
Yo,
my
you're
god."
funny. I didn't know you were saying that.
Christine was the person that really, made it work for us. Because we were both, I think, like, obviously Steve was more shy than me, but it was just
Oh, you
kind of
guys were
like
both
we were both
shy.
pretty
Well, you're
shy.
also, like, each other's first real relationship too,
Yeah,
right?
this is our first
So
relationship.
innocent. That's like
Yeah.
that doesn't happen anymore, like, in
Aw.
this day and age,
Yeah, I
you
gotta
know,
tell
and
you a really funny story too, because at that time you had this brand, the brush brand.
oh,
And
yes,
yeah, so
yes.
at that time I didn't know that he really liked me, but he was starting to like talk to me more. And one time he asked me like, "Hey, do you have any makeup brushes?" And at that time, like I didn't really have a lot of money, so I was just using like my paint brushes that I had. And I was like, "No, what kind of makeup brushes? Like I don't know." And he's like, "I want to send you some." And I was like, "Oh, that's so nice of him. Like he wants to send me makeup brushes. That was so kind." And then later when I got it, I was like, "Oh my god, what if he's trying to, like, sell me the brand?" Like, like he's trying to, like,
Oh, yeah.
scam me in a way,
Yeah.
like, "Here's your makeup," and then, like, like, trying to promote your brand,
Mm,
basically.
yeah.
And I got a little freaked out. I was like, "Oh my god, what if he's trying to, like, just get money from me?"
Yeah.
And then that was the time when I was like, either this guy is really nice that he cares for me enough to send me makeup, or he's trying to use me to, like, promote your brand or something, you know? So I was kind of a little, like, taken back. And then when I got the stuff in the mail, I was like, "Oh my goodness, these look expensive," like, and then I was like, "Hi, Steve, like, thank you so much for sending me these makeup brushes. Like, this is so nice. Um, how much do I owe you?" Like, and then I was like, "This is gonna be like the moment where I know if this guy is actually a good guy or not." And he took a moment, like I could just remember every second of that. And he was like, "Oh no, it's just a gift for you because I know like you love makeup and I just want to like provide you the tools so you could get better."
Mm.
And I was like, "Wow, like this guy, like he
Yeah.
is an incredible guy." So
He's so selfless, yeah.
yeah. So I think that's when I knew like this guy is a rare one. So then
Mm.
I was like, okay, I started taking it a bit more seriously. And then we met finally
Yeah, at
when you guys
Disney.
invited me.
I
Yeah.
remember Disney
Disney.
World.
Yeah, that was like a first date. So yeah,
That's
when I
that's the
first
most
met
epic
you,
first date.
it was crazy because the thing is, when I came, I feel like you guys picked me up at the airport and then we went to Cheesecake Factory And Steve was so shy. I thought I was gonna be shy, but he like was super shy.
Yeah, it was pretty awkward for me because
Yeah.
I'm just like, these 2 aren't talking to each
These
other. But, I think it was Disney. Your first
Yeah,
date was
yeah.
when you guys were able to go off on your own and,
Yeah, it was
um,
really cool.
do your thing.
Yeah, I feel like when I obviously when I first met you, I could like your mom, I think your mom was there as well. Christine
She
was
was there,
there.
yeah.
And then everybody was kind of shy and quiet, but I noticed that you were kind of like the spokesman for your family. Like you were the one
Oh,
that kind of
always. Yeah.
took care of your family, you spoke for them and stuff. So that's one thing that I noticed right away. But you were really like kind and welcoming. Like I feel like sometimes, the sisters could be a little bit like, I don't know if she's like good enough for my brother, but I think I never got that vibe from you and
Yeah.
Christine. Like you guys were
Yeah.
just really open to just like, excited
Yeah.
for me to meet Steve and stuff. So that's kind of what I remember
Yeah, it
mostly.
all started because you
Hmm.
added Steve as a friend on Facebook.
The timing was just so perfect, like for both of us. And that's why I
No,
feel like God just pretty much brought us together.
he did. He
Yeah.
absolutely did.
Your mom talks about it all the time. She's like, I always used to pray for my son, for, this girl, and you were like exactly
I
everything that I
really thought
prayed for.
Steve, because he was so shy, he never spoke. Like
Hmm.
my brother, just I would have to speak for my brother sometimes because he's
Yeah.
so shy. And I remember like when I was growing up, I was kind of concerned. I'm like, man, I really
Mm.
want him to be able to find a life partner,
Yeah.
and he's never talked to any girl, like he's never
Yeah.
spoken to any girls.
Hmm.
So it's so crazy to see him going from like never speaking to a girl ever
Yeah.
to meeting the girl of his dreams and marrying her within a year. Like it's just
Yeah.
crazy. Like that was such a massive, big dichotomy. And
Yeah. I just love sharing like our story, how we met, because it's just very special, like how everything just came together
it
at the
did,
same
yeah.
time.
I remember when I was asking my brother about you, like, oh,
Yeah.
like where did she grow up and all of that? He was saying Nepal. And I remember at the time I didn't even know what Nepal was. I was
Really?
like, what is Nepal? And then I looked it
Hmm.
up. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's right next to Mount Everest. It's,
Yeah.
the birthplace of Buddha and everything.
Hmm.
I just never met anyone from Nepal. So for me, it was
Really?
so cool to really know that my brother was talking to someone
Hmm.
that came from the other side of the world. And I was wondering if you could um,
Yeah.
share more about your upbringing, because to me,
Hmm.
Nepal is such a mysterious place.
Hmm. For sure.
It's just there's something very mysterious about the vibe of
Yeah.
Nepal.
So yeah, I feel like I never got to talk a lot about my childhood so far. So I'm so glad that I'm able to like talk about my childhood right now. But yeah, growing up, like my parents, they didn't have a lot. They really had a really humble beginning. My dad, he used to sell peanuts on the side of the road, and my mom and dad, they never got to go to school. So being like, sending me to school was very important for them, for me to get higher education. And so, yeah, they moved to the city and I went to a boarding school. I was not good at school at all. But I was able to shine through like my creative, like dancing, singing, arts, like everything. I would always be like first in like the whole school. So my parents were super proud of that. And they always encouraged me since I was a kid. Like they didn't have a lot, but they would always make sure to go out of their way to like make all my dreams happen. So yeah, so I just remember being very like competitive with like dancing, arts, and everything growing up. I even did pageantry. And yeah, but I had a really good, like wholesome, very colorful childhood from what I remember.
Hmm.
And now I look back, I was like, oh my God, my parents really were like struggling back then, but they made it seem like they didn't want me to feel like I was lacking anything. And so, yeah, I'm just really grateful that my parents really encouraged me, nurtured me in that sense, especially for my like gifts and
Yeah.
talents. Hmm.
How did you get to the States when you were in Nepal?
So I think it was around 13, and then this kind of like special opportunity opened up for my parents to come to Colorado.
Okay.
And yeah, it was just kind of out of the blue. And they just wanted to try it. And then they got the, visa. And then we came here. Yeah. And then it was it was crazy. Yeah, when we first moved to America, I started, like it was like a culture shock because in
Yeah.
Nepal it's like a whole different world. And then when I got enrolled into the school, there wasn't a lot of like Asian kids at all,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and I had
Yeah.
a really like funny accent, I guess. At that time I had like a really like deep accent. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a little, I guess it's a bit like Indian accent, because
Yeah.
we're from Nepal. So a lot of people used to make fun of me back then, and I didn't really, really like understand why. And it was mostly like boys, they would really like copy and like make fun of my accent.
Yeah, kids were mean back
They were,
then. I
yeah,
mean,
they
they're
were
s
really
they're
mean.
still mean today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely hard in America. Like I was having a really hard time kind of adjusting with the school, especially trying to fit in with the kids. And yeah, there was a lot of bullying because of my accent. And then for my parents, it was really hard because when they first came to America, like, obviously they didn't have education. So it was hard for them to get like good jobs. So they were almost like in brink of homelessness. And it was pretty scary times because we didn't know if we should like go back to Nepal again. And there was just a lot of, confusion at that moment. But thankfully this place like opened up. It was like they called it Colorado Homeless Families back then. I think they changed their name now. But they used to help a lot of like low income, families.
Mhm.
So most of my childhood, I remember like especially in my teens, I grew up there and it was really fun because there was just, people from all over the world, a lot of single moms with a lot of kids. So it was just this really nice, like warm community where I got to grow up. And there was especially this lady who was part of, she was the founder of CHF, Colorado Homeless Families. And I remember like at that time they had Extreme Homemaker Edition come
Mhm.
to their place and
Oh, I
they
love
did
that
this.
show.
Yeah, I used to love that
That's a
show.
great show.
It's
Yeah.
such a good show. And they pretty much like, revamped her whole place and for two
No way,
families.
I
It
didn't
was a
know that.
huge, yeah, it
I
was a
have to
huge
find
show.
that episode.
Right. I think, yeah, I think we could still find it somewhere. But so yeah, so they did this amazing thing in her office and for the two of the families. And then she was like, Promise, like I feel like something's missing. And even with all this makeover, I feel like I need your like artwork in this office, in her like whole office. She wanted me to like draw there. And I think she was like one of the persons that really believed in me. And she would say like, I love, like, I feel like you're going to do something really great with your talent. And for me, like, I've always been really shy and insecure. So to hear like somebody that really believed in me, I think that was really special. So I really want to like, I know she's going to be watching this as well. So I just want to thank Auntie Connie so much. But yeah, we were in that program for quite some time. And, I feel like it helped my family a lot, and I had
Mm.
such good relationships with friends. I had friends from like Congo, like Russia,
Wow, it's like
Pakistan.
really
It was
international.
such a like I feel like
Yeah.
everybody should have like a community like this where you could grow your kids. And it was so much fun. Like all I can think of is how fun it was growing up in that organization. So yeah, so that is kind of how it happened. Then I went back to Nepal again. So it was a lot of like back and forth. Like my parents were traveling a lot.
Mhm.
And it was really crazy because when I went back to Nepal, I think I was like 16. That's when I had the real culture shock because I
Of going
was
back home?
going back. Yeah, I felt
Mm.
like it was really hard for me because I had so much freedom here in America. Like I had like shaved my eyebrows, back in the
Mm,
day,
mhm.
and I had like bleached my hair. The school was so free. I just had so much like freedom here with
To
like to
self-express, you mean,
express
right?
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, when I went back to Nepal, women they're not as free back then. I feel like it's definitely better now. So like if you wear too much makeup, they think you're too promiscuous. Like even like if you put a red lipstick or eyeliner.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was
Wow.
very hard for me when I went back because I just
That's so
kind of
ironic because look at your whole career. You're all
I
about
know for
makeup,
sure.
self-expression, turning into a million different people.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was really hard. Like when I went back,
That's interesting.
my parents would be like, Promise, can you tone it down? Like, can you not wear, too much of like
Yeah.
revealing
It's
clothes, too
interesting
much
because when you do
makeup?
that, it almost creates this need. You
Yeah.
have this unmet
Mm-hmm.
need to express yourself, so it comes out
Mm-hmm.
in other ways.
Yeah, like I couldn't even wear shorts for like the longest time.
That's crazy. You're, like,
So
sweating
yeah,
and
even till I was married, like, they're like, let's not wear shorts here. So
wow,
there's
wow.
you have to have that kind of like, how do I say it? Like, what's the word? Just to conceal, I guess, in a
I
healthy way.
guess
Like,
just it's like countries like
yeah,
that, I guess it's more conservative. I mean,
conservative, yeah,
I
for
just know
sure.
Nepal is
Yes.
very conservative, very spiritual,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and, it's different. This is a different culture in
It's
America. We're
different
so
culture
much
for
more
sure. Yes.
liberal, and, the
Yeah.
sexual revolution and all that really helped open women up to being a little more open about
Yeah. For
themselves.
sure. So when I went back, it was definitely really hard. I had to, be a bit
Mm,
more conservative with my clothes, with my makeup, and school was so hard because I had literally shaved
mm.
my eyebrows right already. So they were like, no makeup, no nail polish, braid your hair, cut your nails, no earrings. Like it was like felt like military,
Yeah, it
like
is.
boot camp. And I was like, how am I gonna survive in this? Like I
Yeah.
literally just was like,
But
no
looking
way.
back, do you think that was a bad thing that they did? You know what I mean? Now that you're a
Yeah.
mom, now that you're
Like,
older.
you had the uniform, I wasn't happy with that, but now I think about it, like, when I was really young and, when my parents were, like, really poor, I was trying to fit in with my friends that were
Yeah.
well off. They had, like,
Yeah.
their dads were, British army, so they were all pretty
That
well off,
right.
and I felt like I was, like, always the poorest one in the class.
Yeah.
So I feel like at that moments, they couldn't tell a lot of the times because we were all wearing the same
Well, yeah,
outfit.
that's why
Yeah, so I
uniform in
was
a
like, "Okay,"
way
in that sense, I guess that
makes
was
yeah, yeah. It
yeah.
it helps with that. It helps with that. It helps with that
Right.
disparity.
For
Yeah.
sure. So, yeah, it wasn't too bad, but it was very tough for me. Like I got disciplined so many times, like
Mm.
so many different punishments that I had to suffer. But yeah, I
Was
think
it intense?
it was intense. Yeah,
Well,
they're
I
like just
mean,
you just
can
get
you
hit by a
share?
pipe.
A pipe?
Yeah, the teacher will just come and hit you with a
Man,
pipe.
if someone hit me with a
Yeah,
pipe, I
like
don't care who you
every
are.
day,
Like
like
my
you're like a
Aries side,
pinata.
I'd probably
No,
be
no.
in jail, honestly.
No, no. And then your
That's
parents are
crazy.
like, "Yeah, you gotta like, discipline them." That's how the parents would say. So the teachers were just kind of, you're basically a pinata. If you forget your
Wow.
book, your
What happens
pencil,
if you have an abusive teacher that's, what do you
there's not a
do?
thing as an abusive teacher. It's just they're just very strict.
I see, okay.
So yeah, that was really hard. But then I came back to America, and then I was like, "Oh my God, freedom again!"
I always tell people America is a great country.
I know.
We
Yeah,
take it for
I don't
granted
think people
here. Like
realize
honestly,
that.
like I always tell people go to other places around the
Yeah,
world and come back here and tell me it's bad.
that's true. That's
It's
true
not
for
as bad
sure.
here.
So yeah, so then I came back to America and just, I think I was around 18.
So
I
did you
said,
know at that time what you
hmm
wanted to do for a living?
no.
I was going to ask you like
Right,
what is
nothing.
an average
hmm
Nepalese woman, what would her career
Right.
aspirations be?
There's not a lot of opportunities in my country. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people like are, even now there's just older people and younger kids there. It's like an
Mm,
empty nest. But a lot of the girls I've noticed they do like nursing and
okay.
like air stewardess.
Okay.
So there's just like this few careers that a lot of people can really go into that's secure
Mm,
for their
mhm.
future. So I was thinking of being a nurse. And my parents were like, I feel like you should be a nurse. It's just something that's going to be secure for your future.
It's true.
Yeah,
The
but I
world needs
didn't
more
want to.
nurses. I know, I know. I feel
I
you.
was like, no, like I can't do it. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. Honestly, I was so lost.
Really.
And it just seemed like nursing was the
But
only
you knew you
option.
enjoyed being creative and
Yes,
you were
that was
good at
exactly,
it. It's
yes.
one thing to like enjoy
hmm
something. It's another thing
Yeah.
to enjoy it and be good at it.
Yeah, so I was thinking about doing nursing. I actually sent applications to India because, it was too expensive to study here in
Yeah.
America. So I was like, whatever opens up, like God's going to open up for me. So that's kind of where I was. I wasn't too worried. At the same time, I was just kind of going with the flow. And it's just like wherever God takes me. And so that's when, opened YouTube
Yeah.
and I saw you. And that was
You
kind of
wanted
when
to
I
do
was like,
that.
wow, this is so cool. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know you could even do, I mean, I didn't know that was like a career
Honey,
at
most
that
people
time.
didn't
Like,
know.
no.
Most people were like, "What are you doing, Michelle?" Like, even my
Yeah.
professors made fun of me. I'm like, "This is the
Yeah.
future. I'm sorry
Exactly.
you don't get it. I'm gonna make these videos." And
Yeah. That's how I felt. I'm like, I
mhm.
don't even know if this is going to be a career, but this is what I want to do.
It felt right.
Yeah. It felt
It
right.
felt right, right? I always tell people
Yeah.
that feeling is a compass,
hmm
and then that is somehow connected to the higher self, and you just gotta
Right.
listen to that more because sometimes it goes against logic,
Right. Right.
you know?
Exactly.
But where do you think innovation comes from? If everyone had
hmm
innovative ideas, everyone would be successful. And that's the
Exactly.
thing is sometimes successful people take risk, like what you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. That was
You took
true.
a massive risk.
Yeah, and my parents were pretty supportive, all throughout my childhood. They were like, you need to have like a higher education.
Yeah.
But then in time, I think they saw how happy I was just creating and doing things, like
Yeah.
arts. And they just were like, maybe God will make a way. So they kind of like
Wow. They
started being more,
surrendered.
yeah, they
Yeah, they surrendered
surrendered.
to
They were
it.
like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll support you. So I still remember when I did my first avatar makeup, my dad like took me
Oh,
to
yeah,
Party
yeah.
City. He got me these trees, like whatever you need, like we'll,
Yeah.
make it happen for you.
So actually
So yeah.
let's talk about that since you
Oh
opened
yeah.
up on that, your career, which
Yes.
I think
Mhm.
what makes your story so interesting is
Yeah.
you didn't have career aspirations like
Mm-mm.
women today, which I think
Yeah.
they take for granted. Like we
Mhm.
have, especially being an American, there's so many different career
There
opportunities
is, yeah.
for women to aspire to explore. And I feel like,
Mm.
places like my mom, like she grew up in Vietnam where they didn't have that. And even with
Yes,
you in
yes,
Nepal.
exactly.
So I think it's really interesting that even though your family and everyone, they wanted you to do
Mhm.
nursing, but something just told you,
Yeah, that
try,
was in
like,
the
there's
way.
something else, just wait.
Mhm.
And so you saw my video
Yeah.
And then we met, and then you decided, because I remember the Avatar video when you made
Yes,
it and it
yeah.
went viral because it was so
Yeah.
good. It was so good. And
I
oh,
honestly like didn't know. I was really surprised when people really liked it. And I remember Steve showed it to you at that
yeah.
time. And then you like reposted it. And
Well, it
that's
was
when
so
I
good.
got so many
I
like
know, but it was really good. I don't think, I think if you
yeah.
sucked, I would not have reposted it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I'm serious. You
I
think
thought
I
you were
would?
just being nice when you
No,
posted it. I
you
was
were
like, "Oh, she's so
good.
nice." But then next
You
next
were
morning, I
great.
woke up and I had like thousands of friend requests, and they were
No
like, "I
way.
want to see you do a tutorial." I'm like, "I don't even know how to edit. Like, I don't know how to
That's
do any of this."
crazy.
But I tried, and I think I just kind of put something out there, and people just they were like, "Wow, we got to see this," and I was like, "Oh my god, like, is there something here for me?" But I was just really just happy having an audience and just creating having this creative outlet. So I was just really grateful for that. And, I never knew that it would ever like turn out to be something this big and
Mm-hmm.
open so
Mm-hmm.
many doors. But you were definitely like somebody that really helped me guide me through this whole
Yeah.
process
Well, you
to,
had the talent. You just
yeah,
needed just the blueprint a little bit. It's like
exactly.
you just need to know, like, just do
Yeah.
your YouTube, upload at least once or twice a
Twice.
week,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you did it. And I think this is
Hmm.
I would like for you to kind of talk more about the process of you becoming
Yeah.
a creator, because you're pretty much OG. You're one of the early
Hmm.
creators, that, in my opinion, the wave one beauty creators, which were anyone that came in around 2007 up to 2010. I
Yeah, that's
consider
true.
that like the first wave.
I think that was like one of the best parts also. Like I feel like we really were in a good
Yeah.
time to start with
It was so
everything that we
different and
did.
wholesome back
It
then, right?
was, yeah. I was just telling Steve, like, I feel like people are definitely more uptight now. Like, I can't create a lot of the things that I did back, when I started with the transformations and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
celebrity lookalikes. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think I would be able to do that today.
It was a different time
It
back
was
then. Like,
different.
people saw
Yeah.
that this was really just an outlet for people to express
Yeah.
themselves and really treat it like art.
That is
It was never
true.
really politicized, to be quite
Yeah.
honest with you, until
People were
way
really
later.
supportive. They were really like I feel like they were really engaged in our life and they just wanted to be like our
Yeah.
friend
Yeah.
online. And I feel like it's so different nowadays. Like I look at a lot of it's not the same
It's because
connection.
everyone's politicized. That's why.
Right.
This generation is more politicized than our generation, because we kind of grew
Right.
up very innocent. The
Yeah,
world was
yeah.
new. We didn't really know much about
Mm-hmm.
politics. But I think that's
Yeah.
part of like the process of just the age of
Just
information we're in. Like,
right,
people
right.
have access to too much information now,
That's true. Yeah,
and
we had a good time.
opinions.
But I'm just grateful that we started when we did.
I know, I
And I feel
know.
like now, I just met like my viewer a few days ago, like a mom and a daughter. And they were like,
Oh,
oh, I grew up watching you and now I have a daughter who watches you.
that's
And just being
crazy.
part of like people's childhood, it just like
Yeah.
is so special. Like now I think about it, it's like being somebody's core memory. It's so special. So I'm really grateful that we were able to start then and just have this, lovely, like supportive community that just supported us for such a long time.
Yeah. But
So,
there was moments when both you and
hmm
me, we were doing our thing, but then
hmm
I started to just I
yeah,
noticed this is a byproduct of fame,
right, right.
is haters.
Oh,
Right? Like, honestly, I
yeah,
really
for
feel like
sure.
the
Hmm.
more popular I became, the more I started seeing a lot of negative
Exactly.
comments. And I don't think I was equipped to handling that, because I'm such a
Yeah.
people pleaser. So I don't know if
Right,
you
right,
also
right.
struggled with
Um,
just negative feedback,
Negative feedback.
and I don't like using the word
Yeah.
hate, but you know what I mean, right? Because I don't
I
think they
mean,
really hate.
yeah.
I think they really just misunderstand
There
us.
was moments like I feel like even for us like there would be a lot of people comparing us all the
Oh
time when
yeah,
when
yeah,
you started like
yeah,
promoting me. People would be like, oh my god, and they would always like kind of root for me because I guess I'm the underdog.
yeah.
It's
No,
obvious,
honestly,
but
like,
there was a lot of like
they're hella
divisiveness.
toxic back then. I'm like, yo, y'all like drama. Like,
Oh
honestly, looking
yeah.
back, it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I remember when people were pitting us
Yeah.
against each other and
All the
stuff,
time.
and it was tough for me too, because
Hmm.
it's like I have to, I
Hmm.
need to be present as a sister-in-law, but
Yeah.
these comments are affecting me. It's
Exactly.
bleeding
Yeah.
into the real life. I love a good self-care ritual, and hair care plays a huge part in that. Growing up, I never thought how important it was to find the right shampoo and conditioner for your hair type. And I have very naturally thick hair, and it's very hard to style and to manage, and also finding products that can keep my hair hydrated without weighing it down. We all know that healthy hair really does start with the scalp. And let me tell you, trying their scalp serum has been a massive game changer. You'll see a difference in how you style your hair, how you blow dry it. Just your hair is gonna have so much more volume because it's basically skincare for your scalp. Also, with the holidays coming up, Way products make an amazing gift for anyone looking to upgrade their hair routine. So if you've been searching for a hair care routine that's made just for your hair type, I can't recommend Way enough. So just head on over to theway.com/afterglow if you want 15% off of any product. That's theway.com/afterglow. THEOUAI.com/afterglow. That's THEOUAI.com/afterglow. Trust me, your hair is going to thank you. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible, hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. And one thing I picked up for myself is this fun game called Sparks, Past, Present, Future, a conversation game. Inspired by the kind of reflections that come to the mind when gazing at the night sky, this insightful game sparks revealing discussions, heartfelt laughter, and meaningful connections. They truly have the best gifts, from holiday host to hostess gifts to the coolest finds for book lovers. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone. So if you want to save 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/afterglow. That's uncommongoods.com/afterglow for 15% off. And don't miss out on this limited time offer. I have to be honest with you, like when we were collabing a lot,
Right.
and I saw a lot of the comments, a lot of people were saying like, Promise is better than you. Why isn't she more famous than you? Like that really
Right,
hurt me. And
right,
I
for
really
sure.
felt like that started to F with me. It really did,
Mm,
because I was so insecure and I felt
yeah.
like I'm the pioneer in this. I'm the one starting this. Why are people saying
Mm,
that about me and her? And it was so sad seeing how they pitted
yeah,
us against each other for no reason. It's not like we
exactly,
didn't
yes.
like each other. We were
Mhm.
actually really
Yeah,
tight and cool with each other. But
yeah.
I really truly believe those comments and just the pressure and the war that was started actually bled into the real life, where it
Mm,
started to affect me in the real
exactly,
life, where I
yes.
started to find flaws about you.
Mm,
I'm like, I don't like that she does this. I don't like that
right,
she's late.
right.
I don't like that she's picky. And
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
started to form this narrative of who you were
yeah.
rather than me just talking directly to you. You know what I
Exactly, yeah.
mean?
I think that definitely had a lot to do, especially in like when we first got to know each other. You moved to LA right after I got married to Steve, so we didn't have that time to really like get to know each
And
other as well
bond.
and bond
Yeah,
and have that like really strong bond. So when people were saying things like that, I think it was easier for us to kind of like
totally.
believe that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And honestly, I never felt like I was better than you because I learned everything from you. Like you were my inspiration. I watched almost every video of you. So I never felt like that's like a teacher and a student kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see like there was definitely like some sort of tension there. Yeah,
Yeah,
for a long
that
time.
too, and also like because I've been reflecting. I mean, I'm sure you
Hmm.
understand this. We're older now, so we can really reflect our whole life. I do think that there was a
Yeah.
little bit of like, I was Steve's best friend
Okay.
for basically my whole life,
Right.
and this really cool girl comes in, and I
Mm,
just felt like, what happens? Like, am I never going to
right.
see my brother again? So I think there was a
Oh,
little bit of just insecurity
exactly.
that
Yeah.
I lost my best friend,
Mm,
and I just want to make sure he's in the right hands with you.
yeah.
And then all the narrative of the hate comments,
Mm,
to be honest with you, the hate
yeah.
comments were really
Yeah.
affecting
I
me.
mean, you and your brother, you guys have like such a strong bond
We're
because
so close,
I still
yeah.
remember like back then when I first talked to him, I would be like, "Do you ever fight with your sister?" Because I had
We
like
never
three
fought.
smaller
Yeah,
sisters. It would
yeah.
always bother me. Like I was so tired of them. But like with Steve, I was like, "Hey, does your sister ever like bother you? Like, do you guys have, like this little?" He's like, "No, never. I
We
never
never
fight with
fought.
my
We
sibling."
never
I
fought,
was
yeah.
like, "You're lying. Like, there's
No,
no
we
way that
never
you."
fought.
Yeah, and then when I actually met him and now I know, he's literally a saint. And
He
now I know why
is,
he doesn't
yeah.
fight. Like you guys have such a
Yeah.
beautiful relationship. So I could see like why that would have
I was so protective
affected
of
you.
him.
Mm,
So protective. And I didn't realize these
yeah.
feelings I was having. I was putting them in the wrong place. Like these unmet needs and these unmet
Mm,
feelings I was having, I was displacing it on you. I was projecting onto
yeah.
you rather than processing everything, and even like seeing that these comments from these gossip
Exactly.
channels,
Yeah.
it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so hard to
Yeah, the
discern it,
gossip
you know?
pages were going crazy. Like they just wanted to just create more
I know. And
trauma,
I'm
like
not gonna
more
lie,
trouble.
I was also mad
Yeah.
that you didn't have a gossip page dedicated to you, but I
Mm,
had one of the biggest one. And I'm like,
yeah.
why am I getting hated and Promise isn't? Why is she considered the
Mm,
nice one and the loved one and I'm getting so there was a
huh.
lot of that and it was really affecting me.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Mm,
you. And
that is
I
crazy.
I didn't know how to process it. I think
Mm,
it was a lot of pride and just suppressing stuff and like suppressing,
yeah.
suppressing, and then
I think more for me, I was like, for me, like when I moved to LA, I think I just felt like I was trying to get to know you more. Just when we lived in like, I was trying to get to know you more, but I felt like there
oh,
was
when you
just like
guys
this
moved in with
wall.
me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
when you guys moved in with
I was
me.
like trying to get to know you. Like I was like, I just want to have like that sister bond because
I
I'm like a big
know.
family
I know,
person.
I
So I was like,
know.
let's just bake
I
some
was not
cookies, like
present.
braid hair together, just
Ye
something. But you just had
yeah.
this kind of wall,
It
and I was
was I'm
frustrated.
busy. I'm
Yeah,
busy building an empire.
yeah,
I
you
don't have
were really busy.
time. And I'm sorry I wasn't present.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah. But I realized like the more I know your story about your family and how much you guys struggled, I'm like, I know why you have that drive, like you're just, you have that drive to just take care of your
I
family
have
and to do
to.
better for
We
your
didn't have a
future.
father to take care of us.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to become that masculine for my
Mm.
family.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
because even my brother,
exactly.
even though he's older and he's a man, he's
Very
he's
soft.
he's so but
Yeah.
to me, I would never change
Very
him. He's
gentleman.
literally an angel. He's a
Mm.
child of God. That's why I tell people, like, you meet
Yeah.
him, he's a child of God. This guy's going straight to heaven. He's like
Yeah, my
passing,
mom just
he's
called him
fast
like
pass.
Jesus Christ a few days ago. I'm like, Mom, that's a little,
Okay,
but
that's a little too much, but
but
Steve
they say
is
he's a saint,
he
basically.
really is just like
Hmm.
my mom. And I
Yeah.
someone had to turn
Yeah.
that drive up. And it was me. I
Yeah, and
became
what would
this
they do without you? I feel like you were
what would I
definitely
do without them? That's what I tell people. Like I would
Yeah.
probably be really honestly, if I didn't have my family grounding me and being
Mhm.
this soft landing space, I would
Right.
probably be a very bitter, aggressive woman
Mm.
that
Yeah.
is overcompensating
Yeah.
for masculinity.
I see.
Honestly. And now
Yeah.
it's interesting because I'm kind of entering into my soft girl era now, where
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm
yeah.
happier now and I'm more at
I know
peace and
I've seen you through like, your biggest
all the
struggles
eras,
and
right?
all of the good times and the bad times. And, like a lot of friends that took advantage of you, like a lot of people,
Yeah.
because you're always giving to people and helping out people. And there's, especially here in LA, there's
Yeah.
just a lot of people that just want to take advantage of you. So I can see like why you would, feel bitter like that. But, I feel like over the years, you've just, shaped into this beautiful human.
Yeah. And I feel
It's
like
soft.
we're also
Hmm.
smart enough where we can read the red flags now when we meet
Yeah, yeah,
these
for
people who
sure.
want to come into our lives,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a lot has happened in this past decade of us,
Yeah.
just evolving and changing as a human and online. I'm not sure if people can see that, but
I
yeah,
think so. I
they can
think
kind of
people,
see.
well, that's why I wanted to
Hmm.
do this podcast because I feel like, you know, when we make content, a lot of our
Right.
content, it's so product or beauty or it's very just much focus on the art and we don't really get a chance to just talk,
Talk.
you know? And
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Yes.
also people are hungry
Hmm.
and they miss the OG era. And I think people want to kind of know about their growth
Yeah.
because I think when you show that you've grown, it kind of gives permission for other people to know it's okay. Like, yeah, it's okay
Exactly.
to make mistakes. We're
Hmm.
not perfect. It's okay to grow. It's okay to F up
Yeah.
and own up to it and
That's
take
true.
time to process it because we were both processing a lot of
Yeah.
traumas and we didn't
For
have
sure.
like back then no one cared about mental health either,
Exactly.
like
Yeah. We
especially
didn't have a
us
lot of
being
help.
like
Hmm.
from Asian cultures. If you talk about, oh, I need to
Right.
talk to a therapist, they literally think you're crazy.
Right. Right.
There's a
Yeah.
stigma around
Hmm.
mental health in Asian culture. So I
That's
felt
true.
like we both had to be really stoic. And it's
Hmm.
interesting because both you and I supported our family.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Like we were
sure.
making the money, we were the breadwinner, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of pressure on us. And we didn't
Hmm.
really know, like, I just
Exactly.
wanted to
Yeah.
be an artist. You wanted to be a nurse, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like,
There's that.
and we're just kind of
Hmm.
thrusted into this world where we have to grow up really fast.
Hmm.
And sometimes you do have to make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. But we've learned and we've grown and now we're in our 30s. I feel like the most stable and the most like secure I've ever felt in my whole
Isn't it the
life.
best?
And now as a mother, it's so beautiful. Yeah, it's been a journey for sure, but it's been like a lot of good things
But I want
and
you to,
some
I think what
yeah.
would be really great is I want you to talk about what you were going through
Mhm.
leading up to Cairo. And there was a moment when you kind of pulled away from the online world. And I feel like so many people wanted to know what happened.
Okay.
And I know like you're very stoic and everything.
Yeah.
But if you want to open up to it, because for me, it's such an amazing story. Like
Yeah.
I get inspired hearing it from you.
Yeah. Overall, like, so far till this place, I never complained about my life. Everything has been pretty smooth sailing. Like, everything was great. Like, I achieved all of the fame that I wanted, like, all of the success that I ever even dreamed of and more. And I think I kind of got like carried away with everything. I kind of lost myself. And I think this was around like pre COVID time. And I just felt very numb for the first time ever.
Mm.
I felt like I just couldn't be happy. Like, genuinely, I just didn't feel anything. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I've never had that feeling before. So yeah, I think I was just like trying to, it just felt like basically like this cloud of like darkness just kind of came over me. And it was such a weird thing like that I went through. And I would think of like the happiest thing I could do at that moment. Like, I could go on the best trip ever, like, buy the expensive bag, but nothing made me happy. I was like, what is going on with me? Like, I
Hmm.
was very confused, and I tried to do everything to kind of distract myself to try to like get away from this feeling. And, yeah, I don't know, it could be because I was, like, after, like, a lot of things, I was just having a meltdown or something, but it was just I don't even know how to explain it, like, it's just this weird feeling that I was going through, and I couldn't really tell anybody around me,
Yeah, you were
it's
keeping it
very
to yourself.
yeah, I don't know if you guys could tell, but
I mean, when I
I
would
was
come over,
just
I just
really
remembered you'd be in your room and you didn't want to see anyone. I was like, okay,
mhm,
I don't want to bother you.
yeah.
But I felt like, shit, she's going through it. I just knew,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but then I just knew I trust in God's
Mhm.
process. You kind of
Right.
need to go through this. Like, I
Yeah,
needed to go
exactly,
through my
yeah.
meltdown to wake up, and
Mhm.
I just trusted that God, he has a process of doing things. And
Exactly.
also, you were just around the most loving people, my brother and my
Yeah,
mom being there.
exactly, yeah.
I just knew you would be okay.
Yeah.
I would be more worried if you didn't have them,
Mhm.
to be honest.
Yeah, so it was a really difficult time, like a season. But yeah, overall, like I kind of, did a lot of things to kind of like distract myself out of it. And all of a sudden, like Steve had this issue with his ears that happened, and he had some hearing loss, and he had
Yeah,
this tinnitus thing, which started like really taking a toll on him. And I think I did a video already about this, but he was really struggling. He couldn't even sleep. Like, he would be like a
I
zombie
know.
for two
I know.
hours every day. So like for everything that was going so well in our life all of a sudden like just felt like I was going through something, and Steve was going through something, and like I don't even know if he'll be able to even like ever recover and go out. And it was
Yeah.
so crazy. It was like the lowest that we've ever felt in our whole
Yeah.
life. So yeah, that was a very low point of life where I look back and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to ever be in that place ever
No one
again.
prepares you for the low
Right,
places in
nowhere.
life. If
Yeah,
you think about it, like,
exactly.
how
Yeah.
come school's not teaching us this? How come
Yeah.
school's not teaching us how to, like, deal with
Deal with
conflict and
yes, like mental
struggles?
health crisis.
Yeah.
But pretty much that's one of when I kind of stopped posting as much
Mm.
online, and I just was like, I need to take a time back and take care of myself and like my mental health. So that's around the time when we kind of found out that I got pregnant, which was the craziest thing because Steve and I, we were like, that was basically the only hope that we had was having a baby. Like, that was going to give us that strength to keep fighting both of our own battles that we were facing at that time. So yeah, like that's why I tell like everybody, like Cairo was a miracle. Like, the timing that God had for him to come in our lives, it was just like the perfect timing.
Yeah. You know he's gonna be the CEO of the house. I already know it.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it's just so yeah, so when Cairo came, it was like that hope, that glimmer of hope for
Yeah.
us. So yeah, that was really good. And then it was, things were getting really great. Everybody was happy. You guys were so excited for us and all of my family. So, that joy started coming back in our life
Mhm.
again. And Steve was getting really stronger too. He was like, I need to like be stronger for my son. So he's just kind of like, because he was scared of sound. Like, he couldn't even go
I know.
outside.
I
Like, he was
remember.
scared. Like, he
Yeah.
was scared that it was going to like trigger his sound. And then he got stronger, because he's like, I have to do this for my son. And then I had to kind of pull myself out of the rut as well. So everything was going good, when it got pregnant, like your mom moved in to help us.
Mhm.
Okay, let me just like take a
No,
breather
take your
and
time, hun.
speak a little nicer.
Yeah, yeah. No, 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 you're fine, hun.
Yeah. So yeah, we were just like, and when we heard the news about Cairo, when he was, I was pregnant, like we've been trying for so long. And when we finally heard the news, it was like so crazy because
It's a
I thought I was never
miracle.
going to have a kid. And he was a miracle. And that was exactly like that glimmer of hope that we needed in our life because Steve was going through it. I was going
Yeah.
through it. We had our worst battles at that time. So yeah, after that, your mom moved in with us and there was like more people in the home. It was more like happier again. So the
Mhm.
happy days were coming again. And we just had this, we were all excited to have Cairo, our first grandson from your side and my side in
Mhm,
the
mhm.
family. So around, I would say like the second trimester is when I started going through something that I would consider it like spiritual warfare, is what I call it now. And it was probably one of the worst things that I've ever went through in my life. And it just was this constant like just negative thoughts in my mind, and I just couldn't even like function. Like I literally felt like I was like in a bondage. Like I was just sitting in like this corner of my house and I couldn't even move. It was just like this negative thoughts that were like consuming me because I've always been scared to be a mom. I think Steve knew about that and everything. And then it was like all these thoughts like you're not going to be good enough, you're not going to be a good mom, like you're going to just this horrible like just the lies from the pit of hell just coming in my head constantly. I didn't know what to do. And I just remember that my dad, he was going through a lot of anxiety and panic attacks. And that's not exactly what I had, but I knew that he was coping with it by just like, finding his faith again and just being like, just reading the Bible and being stronger. So I was like, maybe that's what I'll do too. Started opening my Bible, started listening to all these like Christian,
Yeah.
pastor sermons and stuff like that. And I felt like that was the only thing that helped me. Like that was the only thing that would like quiet my mind for a bit me.
Wow.
And because the thing is, I knew because every time I would listen to like the pastor speaking, and I literally feel like the pastor was speaking to me.
Yeah.
Like he's like, if you hear these voices, these are not your thoughts. These are from like, the enemy. Like,
Yeah.
so like he was literally speaking to me. And I was like, wow. And I had to like gather my strength. I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm a strong person, but I just had to be strong. And I just was like, no, this is not my thoughts. And I had to constantly like keep fighting back those thoughts. But yeah, my life has really been a roller coaster the past few years. I feel like it's just been like the lowest and low and highest and high. But right now, I just feel like I just have so much peace and joy and just hope again in my life. And, obviously like having my baby around, he just gives me so much purpose and meaning in my life. And that's why I've been like kind of out of the social media because I kind of just want to take this time to just cancel all the noise from the social media and just kind of focus on like nurturing him. And he was just a little baby a few years ago and now he's like this toddler running
And core
around.
memories are being formed around now,
Yes,
right?
I don't want to
Yeah.
like miss out on any of that. I
Yeah.
just want to like not stress about all these trying to create the latest trends and
Did
trying
you
to be
feel
on
like there
top
was
of it.
pressure
That's how
in
I felt, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
I know
in
what
the
you mean.
beginning, I really enjoyed creating all of my content and stuff, but over, I would say around like 7 or 8 years after, I started feeling a little bit of that pressure to kind of keep up and keep the numbers going, just keep like the sponsorships rolling. Like it
Mhm.
just felt like it was a bit more of like work than what I really enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what kind of took a toll on me too eventually. Because I
Yeah.
was like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I enjoy doing this as much anymore. I feel like I need a long, long vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thankfully, like Steve stepped up and he, we were able to like invest in a really good place.
Yeah,
So where we
yeah.
can
No,
kind
see,
of
you gotta
relax
trust in the
now.
process. Trust in the
Yeah.
process. But
Trust
I
in the
feel like there's
process.
something else on the horizon for you, even though I'm not trying to
Yeah.
put that pressure on you, but I sense it with you because
Right.
you're just too creative. I just don't
Yeah.
see you not creating.
Really.
Yeah, of
Yeah, that's
course.
that's what a lot of people that's what I've been feeling recently because just for the past like a year or so, I just wanted to just be like, I just don't want to do anything online anymore. I know I love my followers. I'm so thankful, but I just need time to just like heal and just figure out like what I want to do again in life. And I've just been kind of in this mindset of just kind of like taking it slow.
Yeah.
But recently I've just feel like God's knocking in my heart. He's like, you're not done yet. Like there's so much more you need to do. And this time you're going to do things that are more meaningful and something
Yeah.
that's a bit more like impactful for people.
I feel that for you
Yeah,
too.
I think that's what like is kind of like pulling in my heart now.
Well, you
So
have that
it's
in your
interesting.
blood. Your family, they're
Hmm.
so giving to communities. Like they're always
Yeah.
doing things for the communities.
Hmm.
You kind of grew up with that and
Yeah.
you grew up with that whole
Yeah.
um that
Just
interesting
serving people.
yes,
Yeah.
family of just different families from around
Yeah.
the world. And
Right. That's what I saw. Like when my dad was going through, the worst panic attacks, anxiety, like he's recently started doing really good. And I saw like true joy in his heart when he was serving people.
yeah,
And, I share a lot in my
yeah,
stories here and there. And when he's giving back to his community, he's helping people, like that's when I see like the biggest smiles in his
yeah,
face. And I'm like, wow, like, because they do have a car wash business, they do a
yeah.
lot of these things. But like when he truly is serving people from
Oh
his heart,
yeah.
that's where I see like true joy. So I was like, I understand. Like this is what we're all meant to do. Like
To
we're supposed to
serve.
help people and
Yeah, to
serve. Like,
serve. Yeah.
yeah, serve people around us, make a difference. So yeah, those are just the things that I've been like kind of
Yeah.
yeah taking in.
And I feel like if we didn't hit rock bottom, we wouldn't realize
Yeah,
this.
that's true.
Honestly, we needed to. I
Yeah,
really
I
needed to
guess
hit
we
rock
needed that
bottom.
reset. Mm-hmm.
We needed to, because I think our
Mm-hmm.
pride was too big. My
Yeah,
pride was
exactly.
so
Yeah.
big. And I'm so grateful to be humbled
Yeah,
by it.
exactly. Yeah. It was just like you gotta be the best at what you're
Yeah.
doing, the best in transformations. You gotta be the most trendiest. Like
Yeah.
it's like
You
this
have to be
constant
the
pressure.
hottest and the
Yes,
coolest and
hottest,
this. And it's
youngest.
like,
It really takes a toll on you because you're just like, oh my God, like you're just trying to keep up
yeah,
with all that. And it's
I
just,
agree. I
mhm,
agree. The world really needs this right now,
yeah,
especially our country, because I feel like our country is so divided. It's like, how do we
exactly. Yeah.
unite people? How do we unite people through community, through art,
Yeah.
through love, through
Yeah.
spirituality? Because
Yeah.
I also
Mm-hmm.
believe I
Yeah.
love this country. I love
I
America,
do.
but
Yeah.
we need,
Mm-hmm.
I think spirituality is missing in a lot of
Mm.
what I'm seeing in this world, and especially in America. It's
For
like, how do
sure.
we
Yes.
inspire people? And it's not even about religion.
Yeah.
It's about transcending beyond
Mm-hmm.
the body.
Yeah.
Because so many people are so attached to the body and this reality
Yeah.
and
This
money and
reality for sure.
material. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's something more beyond just the material,
Yes,
you
for
know?
sure. Yeah. This is all temporary. And I think that was one of the things like after like I became famous with my makeup and stuff, like my identity kind of just became like this makeup artist that's,
Yeah.
famous, especially like in Nepal. Like a lot of people knew me as I was one of the first like biggest creators to go like, on
Yeah.
global scale. So that was a lot of pressure.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was really happy and like I
Yeah.
felt like really like I made it in life, but also was a lot of pressure for me. So
I always tell people, when you make it,
yeah.
you know what the next stress is? They're like, what? Maintaining it.
Missing.
That's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
no
that is
one
that
gets
is
you ready for that,
that's true, yeah, and I think
you
that's
know?
one of the reasons why a lot of celebrities are they hit rock bottom because their whole identity is like,
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
do and who they are. So
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of had to like look back again once again and then be like, I don't want to build my identity on what people think I am now. Like I want to
Yeah.
lean on like having a more like stronger self-worth just from, who I
Just from
am.
within.
Yeah, so when I
Absolutely.
like kind of lean on God, like I felt like God kind of gave me that like, that words of confirmation, you're beautiful, you're
Mhm.
valuable,
Mhm.
all that words that I've been speaking over myself. And I'm like, oh, I feel good. Like even if
Mm.
I hit like rock bottom, next day I'm nobody, nobody even knows me. I don't care. Cause
Yeah.
like I know what God thinks of me. So you just have
Oh,
this like peace
yeah.
from that. I think that was probably one of the biggest healing for
Oh,
me. And
yeah.
I feel like a lot of creators need that healing too.
They
Right?
do. They
Mhm.
need to know that your numbers don't define you, your
Yeah.
fame doesn't define you. These are great byproducts of your art,
Yeah.
but your art is just an expression of who you are. But who you
Yes.
are right now is going to be different than who you are in the future. So I feel
Yes,
like this
exactly.
is something I'm trying to also teach, my sisters. Like, one of them is
Mm,
going
yeah.
through some stuff, and I was trying to tell
Yeah.
her, like, how you
Mm,
feel your feelings, even though they feel real, they're not real.
yeah.
They're temporary, and let it pass. Because so many people
Mhm.
hold on to their feelings and their identity. They're like, well, I am this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you may think you're this, but I'm telling you, it's going to change.
It's
'Cause
gonna
I
change.
remember
Yeah.
5, 6 years ago, I was like, well, I'm a female, strong boss.
Mhm.
I'm this, I'm that. I had
Exactly.
this identity.
Mhm.
And now it's like, well, I'm going more into my soft girl era.
No,
And
yeah.
so imagine if I built my
Uh-huh.
whole identity around that other
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So that's why I tell a lot of people,
Mhm.
like, your identity will change. It's
Exactly,
okay.
yes.
It's supposed to
Yeah.
change.
Don't hold on to it like so much,
Don't hold on to
just
it, exactly,
yeah.
because life might force you to change,
Yeah.
and you have to be ready to surrender to it, or else you're going to have so much suffering holding
Yeah,
on to
that's true.
something that is not meant for you anymore.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I always tell people, if you don't know what you want for yourself, how can God give you anything? How can the
Mhm.
universe give you
Well,
anything
that's
if you don't
true.
even know what you want? So I guess intention wise, like,
Mhm.
where do you want to go with this?
Yeah. I do still like I still have passion for beauty. I
Mhm.
still enjoy doing my makeup.
And
Like I
you're
took
good
2
at
hours
it.
to do this today.
You're good at it.
So I still want to like create and inspire people. But at the same time, like I'm kind of, I don't want to do it through like TikTok or anything, because I just feel like that's just such a draining process. Like
Mhm.
that, I don't even know how young people they do TikTok anymore. It's just so much, it takes so much of you. And I just feel like I'm just waiting for like that right platform for me to like start creating content. Maybe something a bit more relatable
Mhm.
with people because like, I feel like a lot of my followers now are moms now and they all have their family as well. So I think just more like more relatable content like mom life, like family. But I've always wanted to do that, but I feel like I just kind of had so many issues, like health issues and so many things that kind of took a lot of me recently. But I do want to focus more on those kind of contents and like just faith, family, home. I've been
Yeah.
decorating my home for like the past 2
I
years.
love the faith part, though. I
Just
think that's
mhm.
something that, um, is so tied to
Yeah,
your upbringing and just everything, to your story.
it
Your entire
is.
story
Yeah.
is faith.
Yeah. There's
And
there's a
and
lot of things that
unfortunately,
mhm.
we don't really see a lot of that in at least the influencer side. They're not
Yeah.
as loud or proud about it,
That's
and I'm
true.
like,
That's true.
"How come?" Like,
I do feel like a
right?
lot of creators are coming back to like
I
faith. A
I'm
lot of
noticing
people,
that too,
yes.
like the past 2
They're
years,
finding
right?
God again. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
which
true.
maybe in the comments will be interesting, and
Yeah.
maybe there's gonna be a lot of, like, confirmation, like, "I was
Mhm.
going through stuff too,
Yeah, a
holy
lot of
crap,"
I
around
feel
the
like
same
maybe it
time.
was just that COVID time. There was just people were going through a lot. I feel like I went through a lot too, but I seen stories of people that have really been through.
I think that was a massive initiation trial
Right. It was really,
for
something
everyone.
strange that
Yeah,
there was a lot happening to a lot of people. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are finding God again, and we really do need that hope and
yeah.
that, like, kind of just,
I always
everybody.
think it's good to transcend
Mm-hmm.
beyond the material. I don't think there's
Yeah,
anything
for
bad about
sure.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
there's more to life than, just this earth. And I truly believe that, everything that we do, that God's gonna see
mm,
one day. And like every day, I want to do better as a human now.
yeah.
Like I know I have this like RBF face, but now I want to like give more joy to people around me. And I'm like trying to like crack a smile, like, with my like,
No, you are goofy.
like,
I always tell
but I
people
want to
Promise
like,
needs to have a podcast because
uh,
she's actually funny.
oh
Like, you don't know this side of her, but
yeah.
man,
Well,
she's
I
a
couldn't bring
troll.
that side of me today because it was just so many like
I know.
serious talks
It's
today. But
okay.
yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of like what
Okay,
I want
that
to
could
do. I
be
want to bring more
next.
joy on people's life some way. I don't know how, but
We'll see what happens.
we'll
Just
see.
trust in this process.
Mhm.
You just put that intention out. Let's see
Mhm.
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Any advice you would offer
Advice.
to those who are starting off their career,
Mhm.
even like new moms too?
Mm. I would say like kind of looking at my life, I've been really able to reflect even for this podcast. I had to kind of go back and look at my life. And I just feel like I really doubted myself a lot. I was very shy, insecure most of my teenage life. And I just felt like I wasn't like good enough for anything. Like I would be like, oh, maybe I'll do this. And I would just have this like constant thought of like, you're not good enough. But I feel like now I just want to say that I'm enough, like you
Mm,
can do anything. Like now I look back in life and even through your story as well, like if you really want to do something, it's possible. Every day when you're alive, you have a chance to work towards your dream every minute. And I just feel like if you dream big, like you can achieve it. So I think that's pretty cool. Like I was able to do everything that I ever wanted in my life. And I think anybody could do that as long as you have that mindset for it. So know that you're enough. And I know a lot of people, they doubt themselves as myself. Like I've met so many talented people that I know like if they just put their art out there, they would be like the greatest artists, but they're
yeah,
just like, oh no, I don't want to
yeah,
share this. And I'm like, oh my God, if only they knew how
yeah,
good this is.
yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, that's how I felt a
That's
lot of
yeah.
times in my
We tend
life.
to mirror.
Yeah.
Everyone's a mirror of us in some way.
So I just want to say, like, don't doubt yourself.
Mm,
Just do, what you want to do. And the biggest prison is your mind. Like,
it
just
is.
release yourself from that prison and you can achieve anything that you want to. And also, from what I've learned recently, like, don't you lose yourself through this process. Like,
Yeah,
stay grounded to who you are, their authentic self. And then also have God. Like, without God, for me, honestly, nothing's possible. Like, God is the one that's going to really ground you. So stay close to God. And
amen.
life will be beautiful.